Well, childhood? Ruined! Of course not. This was beautiful.
Let's kaboom!
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and it took me way too long to finally see the newest and maybe last entry in the Toy Story franchise. When it comes to international release dates, animated movies are often stretched out way more than others, and this wasn't released until a week ago. But it could be worse. I could be living in Tunisia. But on top of that, I also missed the early press screening because it was on the day that I traveled to Germany for my vacation. Now the movie has already made over $1 billion at the box office, and everyone out there has seen it and also watched one of several thousand reviews that are available. Yet I still want to talk at least a little bit about the film, because Toy Story was always very dear to my heart, and it's very likely Toy Story 4 ends up on my top 10 of the year list. It was a little bit shocking when I realized that the third movie is already 9 years old by now. At that time I was still writing German movie reviews for a small website, and Toy Story 3 did in fact make my number 1 of 2010. It's an incredible film that totally blew me away with its emotional weight, its stakes, of course the animation, and how perfectly it concluded this nearly perfect trilogy. Well, until it wasn't a trilogy anymore. But in Pixar we trust, and they indeed came up with a story worth telling. A movie worth continuing the saga and once again concluding it, and maybe this time for real. And I might contradict myself, go against my usual stance that you could always do another movie of anything as long as you bring a great new idea or vision to the table. But as far as Toy Story goes, I think this should be it. And maybe in a few years from now, if I'm still doing YouTube at that point, I can use this clip to show how stupid I have been when Toy Story 5 ends up being the best in the whole series. But right now I'm just super happy how wonderful this one turned out, but also certain that it might be time to finally say goodbye. My initial reaction to Toy Story 4, which was directed by Josh Cooley, wasn't as soul-shattering strong as the one I had while watching part 3, but it felt as if it's combining all the complex themes of the franchise, its beloved characters, the humor, as well as its dramatic tropes if you will, and mix it together to this best of Toy Story emotion machine. And since we already spent 3 movies, the themes appear to lay more in the open than ever before. The big new addition and the thing that sets this new story into motion is Forky. And he's not even a real toy, he's a spork, an utensil that was only transformed into a toy by the little girl Bonnie. This is a new take on the rules of the world of Toy Story, and it's braver than you might think at first because it opens up so many questions. At one point another toy is saying, "I have all the questions," and that statement is exemplary for the series' deeper ambitions. Of course it wants to entertain, and there's no doubt about it doing that, but underneath all the fun of imagining a world in which toys lead their own little lives hidden from us, there were always complex themes. And the big strength of these movies is that those themes aren't just applicable to one clear-cut area of life. In the first film, Woody's life was completely thrown off balance when Buzz Lightyear arrived, a new toy that was suddenly more important, more beloved in the eyes of the little boy Andy. Self-worth, jealousy, envy, feeling rejected, unloved. The stories and emotions in those movies are deeply human and can talk to you personally on very different levels, especially depending on how old you are and where in life you are right now. If you are very young, the whole dilemma of Woody in the first one might remind you of getting a new sibling. If you're older, you can connect it to your first crush maybe, or a long relationship, a marriage, a bromance, or parenting if you already have kids of your own. These movies offer a lot of emotional points to connect to, and as the adventures of Woody and his gang continued, the themes got richer and were explored more as well. And now we get Forky, who is facing a major existential crisis right from the moment he is born. There are all the questions. Who is he? What is his place in life? What is his purpose? And what is Woody's purpose after all those years? At one point in the film, when he can't hide his insecurity any longer, he's screaming out that he doesn't have anything left to do except what he's doing right now, trying to bring back Forky to Bonnie after he got lost. Toy Story was always about transience as well, about getting older, about change, about finding a new goal, a new purpose in life. In Toy Story 2, Woody was confronted with the lure of presumably eternal life as a collector's item behind a showcase, versus having some great years with your kid and after that maybe get forgotten or lost or destroyed or simply dying if you are a human being who is watching these movies. Toy Story 4 seems to bring all those hallmarks of the franchise to the foreground. It's very emotional and the last 5 minutes were absolutely beautiful. It has this constant, sweet melancholy, yet it's also very humorous, adventurous, and I think more lighthearted and diverting than the third one, which felt darker, especially in the second half. Overall, it's a wonderful movie, and yet it does come just a tiny little bit short of the other three, I guess, or at least 1 and 3, which are my favorites. This time the major setting is an antique store and also a small carnival. Of course, along the way we meet some cool new characters like the tiny pocket doll Giggle McDimples or the Canadian stuntman action figure Duke Kaboom, voiced by none other than Keanu Reeves, as well as a great return of Bo Peep and her 3 sheep. Yet all of it felt a bit too familiar somehow. It's not really a hard criticism, but the Toy Story story tropes are quite well known at this point. And again, the structure and action is dominated by rescue missions, new fun allies, ways to work around the humans and so on. And overall, the back and forth between the RV, the carnival and the antique store felt a bit samey on a dramatical level. The movie certainly goes somewhere, but it wasn't as clear and forward moving as the whole setting and revelations of the third one. There's even a running gag that there are constantly toys jumping out of the RV's window to go on another rescue mission. Random is the wrong word, but it didn't feel as building and tension increasing as I hoped it would. But maybe a repeat viewing might prove me otherwise. But the antagonistic forces on the other hand were quite menacing and fun. Where Stinky Pete and Lotso were seemingly friendly at first, you instantly want to go full Rammstein on the vintage talking doll Gabby Gabby.
Ich reiß der Puppe den Kopf ab, ja ich beiß der Puppe den Kopf ab.
Maybe that's a bit too much. She's a great character with her own obsession, and her enforcers, who are all ventriloquist dummies, are so creepy and awesome to watch. Their arms and legs just dangle around and it's such a delight. Now, I wanted to make this review shorter and I think I failed. But Toy Story 4 certainly didn't fail in bringing back Woody and the rest of the gang for one wonderful farewell adventure. So in German I'd say, Toy Story 4 fühlt sich ein bisschen an wie das Best of der gesamten Reihe. Es ist ein wundervoller, emotionaler und natürlich wie immer sehr spaßiger Abschied. Und da ist es vielleicht auch gerade richtig, dass die vertrauten Themen stärker in den Vordergrund rücken denn je zuvor. Vielleicht ist das alles etwas zu vertraut, aber das tut dem Ganzen wirklich keinen Abbruch. For now, I give Toy Story 4 8 out of 10. It's more like 8.4, but I don't do that.
Well, we're not doing that.
Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Toy Story 4. And also let me know what is your favorite movie in the franchise, and also do you want to see a Toy Story 5? You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd at TheJimmyCage. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.